Hello everyone, welcome back to the Padmaloka Shrine Room, or at least a virtual version of it. So in this video I want to take you through the second meditation practice which is taught throughout Triratna Centres around the world, which is called the Metta Bhavana. Now metta translates very loosely as loving kindness. So it's very much an emotional practice, the Metta Bhavana. Bhavana means cultivation, bringing about, developing. So it's a practice where you're developing loving kindness, cultivating friendliness is another word you could use for it, to higher and higher degrees. And the aim of that is that basically you want to transform the way you respond to yourself emotionally, but also the way you respond to other people in the world. Like whenever we encounter another person, we always have some sort of response, whether it's, oh, I like that person, or oh, he's a bit weird, or I don't really think much, you may just not really notice certain people. So in this practice, what we try to do is cultivate well-wishing, friendliness, loving kindness to all of these people, including ourselves, and then spread out to include more and more people. Yes, we're very emotional beings as human beings, there's always an emotion present generally when we look internally. And they affect how we do respond in the world, how we make choices, how we speak, how we interact with people. So it's very important that we have a way of kind of not only making sense of them, but actually directing to them to something more and more positive. And that's what we aim to do in the Metta Bhavana practice. Similar to the mindfulness of breathing, you really want to start by being very embodied. So you might start by doing some sort of a body scan beforehand, which I'll lead through in a second. But you really want to focus in on this area in the body, in the chest. I think this is the point where we experience the emotions most directly. So you become aware of the body. You become aware of the sensations in your chest, how you're feeling, and from there you begin to try to direct the emotions to something brighter, more expansive and more warm. And initially the way you do that is by dropping in phrases. So you might say, may I be well, may I be happy, may I be free from suffering, and may I progress and flourish in my life. And as you say these phrases, you drop them in, and you just sort of wait. You come back to this area and see what their effect is. And you might start to get a sense after a while of a sort of direction or a shift starting to happen. And so that you cycle around the phrases again and try to kind of continually develop that warmer, any qualities of warmth, expansiveness. Yeah. So based upon cultivating metta for ourselves, we then move into cultivating it for a good friend. So someone that we, in a quite uncomplicated way, have positive feelings towards. We bring them to mind. That might be an image, it could also be their voice, or even just a sense of their presence. We bring them to mind, we notice again the sort of feelings that emerge as we do so, we acknowledge those, and then we try to cultivate that same sense of positive emotion, of friendliness towards them. We try to develop that and expand it. And again, the way we can do that is by using the phrases, may you be well, may you be happy, May you be free from suffering, and may you progress and flourish in your life. The idea with it being a good friend is that it's someone it's easier to do for, someone it's easier to cultivate metta for. So then in the third stage, we bring to mind someone we don't know well at all, somebody who's sort of neutral in our spectrum of like and dislike. That could be, I don't know, the postman, or somebody, I don't know, we see at the back of the bus every day in regular times. So we bring them to mind. Again, we notice how we feel having done that. And we just try and see again if we can develop, spread that emotion of loving kindness, of friendliness towards them as well. This stage is a very important one. It's very easy to overlook, and it's also one of the harder ones to do because you're working with very little material. So you can use your imagination here. You can try and imagine the life that this person leads. You know, they have dreams, aspirations. They have their own pleasures, pains, challenges in life. You can bring those to mind and just try to fill them out a bit more as a human being, a fellow human being, and on that basis wish them well. And so, having done that, we then move on to the what is traditionally called the enemy. You can see that with the word enemy, it's somebody we don't get on with. Somebody who presses our buttons, or we just don't like the look of, you know, for whatever reason. It may be utterly irrational. It's usually advised that you don't pick anybody too difficult to begin with, certainly not as you're starting out, so you can leave the dictators and mortal enemies for a bit later on. But yeah, you go through the same process. You bring them to mind through an image, their voice, and you notice how you respond to them. Notice how your internal emotional world changes having brought them to mind. Maybe it's a tightness, maybe that feeling that arises when they're present, maybe that comes about. So you just notice it, you acknowledge it, and then from there we can again try to develop a sense of metta, of loving kindness. And again, you can use the phrases for that, but also you can, similar to the neutral stage with the neutral person, you can reflect on their life. You may not get along with the person, but there will be people in the world that love them dearly. Their family, their mother, their children, if they have children, and even if they are, maybe they are a very nasty person. Perhaps they are, but they're probably still trying their best, even though it seems slightly bizarre the way they're going about it. They still want to be happy, and they're still trying to be happy in their lives. So we can relate to that. We can empathise with them through that, and then from there wish them well and wish them happiness. And it's at this point you can start to realise that actually this practice can be quite a challenging one, but it's also a very powerful one, because you're beginning to transform your sort of very deep responses to people and to the way you move and relate in the world. So it can actually have quite a strong and quite an immediate effect during this practice, certainly if you take it up regularly. Having said that, it can also take quite a while before you get any sense of what's going on in the practice. But anyway, there is one final stage in the practice in which you bring to mind yourself, the good friend, the neutral person, and the difficult person. You bring them all to mind, whether that's doing so one by one, or whether you bring them all to mind at once. And you try to notice the differences in responses that you have to each person. I feel warmth towards that person, I feel more towards that person, not so much to that person. So from there you then see if you can just try and equalize that, try to balance that out. You can do that by focusing on them individually, but you can also bring in reflections like, we're all in this together in a certain way. We're all in the same boat. We're all human beings trying to do our best, trying to live happy lives. So may we all be well, may we all be happy. And then from there, you then start to bring to mind more and more people. So you may bring to mind the other people in your house, your neighbours, the people in the village, in the town, in the county. More and more, you sort of widen out the scope of your friendliness. You broaden it out more and more until you've gone basically as far as you can, around the world, throughout the universe, spreading it out in all directions. And then from there, you, as we did in the last meditation, you spend a bit of time just letting go of effort and just sitting with whatever is present. Okay, so I think that's all I'll say for the practice so far. I'll say a bit more after we do a led through practice. But yeah, it's just worth saying finally that it is very important to stay in the body with this practice, because it can be quite easy to think that it's lots of thinking with the may you be well, may you be happy. So what you've got to do is leave space between the phrases and come back in between to the body and the chest and the feelings in the chest. So I'll lead through about a 25-minute practice with a short sort of grounding exercise at the start and some just sitting at the end. Okay, so preparing yourself to meditate, getting your posture right, upright and relaxed. And when you're ready, closing your eyes. So beginning by taking your awareness to the contact that your legs or feet make with the ground. Sensations of pressure, tingling, perhaps taking a couple of deeper breaths, feeling yourself relax on the out breath. Feeling the weight of your body on the cushion or chair through the bum. dropping down into the cushion. Noticing your torso, belly, back and chest. Letting your upper body be upright and alert, yet relaxed. Letting your shoulders drop down. Again, perhaps on an out breath. Relaxing your face, letting go of any expressions or any little tensions that build up in the face. And now trying to move your awareness to the center of the chest. Near where your heart is, but slightly more central. Seeing if you can notice any sort of movements of emotion, or perhaps what the internal atmosphere is like. You can even ask the question, how am I doing right now? Just acknowledging whatever is present with kindness and patience. The Metta Bhavana. So beginning by cultivating loving kindness towards yourself. Maintaining a light awareness of the area in your chest, the emotional center. And dropping in the phrases. May I be well. May I be happy. May I be free from suffering. May I progress and flourish in my life. Leaving space, seeing if you can notice how they impact the internal world. If you get distracted, just coming back to the body, back to the heart center, center of the chest, and starting again with the phrases. May I be well. May I be happy. Now in the second stage, bringing to mind a good friend. Noticing your response to doing so. And seeing if you can extend any feelings of goodwill towards them. May they be well. May they be happy. May they be free from suffering. And may they progress and flourish in their lives. the third stage, bringing to mind a neutral person, someone who you don't have any strong feelings towards. Noticing your response to them. And seeing if you can extend any feelings of positivity and well-wishing towards them. Perhaps trying to picture what their life is like right now. They're trying to live a happy life. They have dreams and aspirations, just like everyone else. If you get lost, coming back to the body again, reconnecting with the emotional world, and then bringing the person to mind. In the fourth stage of the practice, bring to mind somebody who we aren't getting on with right now. Somebody we find challenging. Noticing how the emotions change as we do so. And seeing if we can begin to transform that response. They're trying their best as well, trying to live happy and fulfilling lives. May they be well. May they be happy. May they be free from suffering. And may they progress and flourish in their lives. So in the fifth stage, bringing to mind all four people of the practice, yourself, the friend, the neutral person, and the difficult person, or enemy, as it's called. Noticing any differences in your response to each person. Seeing if you can balance out that response. Each person wants to be well and happy, is doing their best to live a happy life. May they all be well. May they all be happy. they all be free from suffering. May they progress and flourish in their lives. And then from here, broadening out and including as many people as you can. Everyone in your house, the neighbours, everyone on your road or in your village. May they all be well and happy. Everyone in the county that you're in. Throughout the country that you're in. Millions of people living their lives. Across Europe, Africa, Asia, Russia, America and South America. May all beings be well and happy. In all directions, may all beings be well. May all beings be happy. May they all be free from suffering. May they all progress and flourish in their lives. And now beginning to let go of any effort that you're making. And relaxing into whatever is present. Letting thoughts come and go feelings, sounds, just sitting with whatever's happening. And now gradually coming out of the meditation, perhaps moving fingers and toes, and opening your eyes. Okay, so again, I hope you had a good meditation. And just to say, the Metta Bhavana is definitely a practice that can take some time to get a sense of. I definitely highly recommend pursuing. If you do decide to take up a regular meditation practice, then it can be good to alternate the two, mindfulness of breathing and the Metta Bhavana, doing one on one day and the other on the next. It's worth saying that if you want to take your practice deeper, there are other videos and audio links online, which I'll post underneath the video on YouTube. But also, right now, a lot of centres, Buddhist centres, are live streaming their meditations. I know the Norwich Buddhist Centre is doing this, but there are many, around the world that are doing so. London Buddhist Centre, Dublin, and so on. So do have a look at that. That way it will be a bit more interactive. You can ask questions. You can sit with other people who are meditating at the same time, even though you'll be doing so from your own room. But yeah, worth having a look. What else to say? I also advise that once the lockdown has lifted and we're back to usual life, do go along to a Buddhist centre. Learn how to meditate in a class, face to face, because it does make all the difference. And finally, I'll post a link to the donate page for Padmaloka, and if you'd consider making a donation of any size, small or large, to Padmaloka, it would be very much appreciated at this time. Our chairman has just worked out the budget recently, the cash flow forecast for how long Padmaloka will last without doing retreats. So any donations that are made during this time make a big difference. Okay, so that's all for now, and I wish you all the best for your practice and for your life right now. Okay.